Everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to episode 2 of my Tainted Grail playthrough, where in the last episode we did a bunch of things. I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap in just a moment, but before we get started, if you are watching this, please go back and watch my Sanctum video because you can win a copy of Sanctum that's still live. I'm going to do a little video announcing what we're doing with that in just a day or two, but I did want to let you know about it so you could go attempt to win that game. If you have to be a subscriber and you have to follow the rules. Also, if you are a patron of mine, I'm going to enter you anyway, and I don't have too many of those because I haven't really pushed that. But if you are, I will enter you to win just automatically. So just so you know. All right, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's get started. I don't have any particular corrections from the last video. If I did make a mistake, I apologize. I will not be able to correct it now. But let's continue on. I actually think I didn't, which would be absolutely stunning. I was trying to be very careful. I'm going to try to be very careful in this episode as well. But there are a lot of fiddly rules, so if I do make an error, I apologize. Just enjoy the narrative, and we'll do the best that we can. So, on that note, let's get going with a recap of the previous episode. So, in our last episode, we were introduced to our characters. Bior, Ilia, and Erev. They were not the heroes of Kunakt village. They were basically the apprentices and subordinates to the heroes that wandered off to seek the counsel of King Arthur and Camelot and find out what happened or what is happening here in Avalon as a terrible force called the Weirdness is creeping back in on the world. The only thing that staves it off are these beautiful crazy looking statues called the menhir, however you pronounce them. They're just cool looking. But anyway, the only thing staving off the weirdness is those, and the one in the Kunakt village is deteriorating. We've been tasked by our mentors, since they have not returned as they were supposed to seek out a ritual, a druidic ritual that can restore power to the menhir. That's the first thing that we have to do. To do that, we set off from Kunakt village. Everybody went in their own direction. It started with Ilia, who stayed in the village actually to talk to some people about the current situation and get their take on it. She empathized with them, and they opened up to her and told her stories, giving her little details about her mentors, which in turn gave her the ability called Fate of the Expedition, which is something she's keeping track of in order to understand what happened to the expedition of heroes that left. Meanwhile, Erev ventured north to the Hunter's Grove, where he hunted down a crazy-looking infected vermin, and killed it. Got some food from it. But that wasn't all that he did. He also moved into another area, which we're going to be dealing with now, called the Four Dweller Mounds. He hasn't done anything there, but he did travel to that location. Aside from that, Bior went south to the Forlorn Swords. These giant swords, these massive blades that stick out of the ground that were left there by giants that were meant to fight humans. But they've long since abandoned these weapons. In that area is an old smith that knew the master of Bior, who was an apprentice smith. They interacted for a little while, and the smith there talked about a hammer that he uses that has some power. Well, Bior justified doing a terrible thing and stole the hammer from the smith, knowing that his purpose was to reestablish the menhir and save the land. He stole this, the old steel smasher. While he was there, he also met with the smith and was taught the riddle of old steel, which is going to benefit him later on down the road, and gave him some experience. To end it off, Ilia traveled northward as well, and she is now heading toward the Whitening after visiting with the folks in the village. We're getting a little tired, the team, but they still have some things left that they have to do. I think Erev is about spent, and he's probably going to have to take his rest back at the Four Dwellers Mounds. I don't know how safe that's going to be for him. Meanwhile, Bior and Ilia are going to have a couple more things they can do before they're really tapped out and need to rest as well. So we're going to get to that right now. That is my recap. I hope that was sufficient for you. As we adventure through the land, I'll continue to recap the previous episodes so you have an understanding of what's going on. The game has an absolutely fascinating story, really interesting mechanics, and I think you'll enjoy our continued playthrough. Some of you already seen it. I'm going to say it again. I just did some spoilers by recapping the episode, but this is a spoiler-filled play session. So with that being said, we're going to get back to our middle of the day phase and continue the journey of our three heroes. Well, would-be heroes. So let's get to it, and we're going to start off with, I believe, we'll start off with Ilia, who is in the town of the Whitening, or the village of the Whitening. So Ilia is right here, and she's reminiscing on the note that she got from her mentor, who sent her off to try and help get the men here back in order and stave off the inevitable. Her mentor had not returned. Niante, the hero, the healer of the village, has not returned, leaving Ilia to pick up the mantle. She is here in the Whitening, where she had to negotiate with a guard that was here. Draw a blue encounter when you enter this location. She's done that. And so now she's there, and she's going to trade with the townspeople. I think she's got 3 food. I don't know if the wealth is worth it, but it says once this place had another name, a busy market. And a busy market. Today no one goes there. I do actually think she might explore. She has enough energy to explore and maybe even do this. Now, she can heal herself too. She's got some abilities. She's also traumatized and doesn't like to... she can't reduce her horror when resting in a location without a men here. So she doesn't have any horror right now, but horror against her anyway. Horror, rather. But if she does rest there, she wouldn't be able to recover it. I do think we're going to explore the Whitening. So what that means is she is going to expend another point of energy to do an exploration. I'll show you where you know that. There's these beautiful reference cards. And it says explore right here. Cost 1. Flip the location card. Now we're not going to flip the location card because we have the cool book. And we're going to use the book instead. The first thing that we have to do as we do that exploration is expend another energy for Ilia. And then we're going to go to the book and read what happens when she explores the region after dealing with the guard. Oh, I should have put that in the recap. She did have to do a negotiation. It was a diplomacy action that she had to do against the guard to see if she could stay there, but she did. She succeeded. Okay, the hole is here, as always, gaping right in the middle of the Whitening. The white lichen that gave the town its name, its new name, seems to grow out of it. It covers the walls of the nearby halls with a thick coat. Only close up can one discover it is, in fact, a layer of small, sparkling crystals, like sea salt on the wooden posts of a pier. As you inspect it, several people watch you suspiciously, using the words in English like I'm trained to do all my life. Okay, if you have the Fail's Legacy status and don't have part 2 of the Hidden Treasure status, go to verse 10. We don't have either of that. If you have the Winds of Weirdness status, we don't have that. Or part 4 and don't have part 4 of the remedy, don't go to here. We don't have either of those. If you were playing Ilia, wow, I did not know this, guys, I swear. I did not know this was going to be something special. Or if she's in your party, go to verse 13. So I don't see verse 13 on here, so we're going to have to flip it over. Now, please don't read the other verses. Keep it a secret for yourself so we can enjoy this together. But we are going to read verse 13. Okay, it's right in front of us here. If you don't have any parts of the remedy status, go to verse 1. Otherwise, go to verse 7. We don't have any parts of the remedy status, so we're going to go back to the first one. We're going to read the very first thing. Okay. Because that's what happens if you go here. So I'm just going to double check. That was verse 13. Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure we're doing it right. A pale, toothless man grabs you by the wrist. You coil back like a spring, raising your weapon, but freeze, seeing his pleading eyes. I know you, he says. You're the ward of the priestess from Kunocht. Please, you need to help us. Many are sick. It spreads like wildfire. I beg you, come. You shudder. The education you received from Niante was rudimentary, but you know that many plagues cannot be cured with herbs or simple medical concoctions, and that the overzealous healers often become the first victims of an outbreak. Okay, so we can visit with the sick regardless and go to verse 3, or we can refuse, but we're not going to do that. We're definitely going to go help the sick. She is a good character who's very empathetic. So let's go to verse 3. They have gathered them in a long, dark hall, rows upon rows of straw mattresses. Children, women, young, and elderly all share this one overcrowded space. They also share the symptoms: pale skin, black gums, loose teeth, bleeding sores all over the body, and white blotches on the skin. Is the whitening eating us too? One of the women asks. Sorry. Is the whitening eating us too? One of the women asks. Please tell us. You shake your head. There's no disease or magic at work. Only severe malnutrition compounded by the lack of sunlight and a contagious fungal infection. Choose your cure. Okay, we're going to try and cure these folks so we can show them some herbs and roots that could provide them with nutrients. Pay 3 energy. Can she do that? She cannot. Gain part 1 of the remedy status. Perform healing rites that will restore their health, at least for a short while. Pay 1 and 1 magic. I don't have that. Give them enough food to recuperate. Pay 1 energy, 2 food, and gain part 3 of the remedy status. Go to verse 2. God, that will leave her with 1 food for the night. Well, the good news is she can go back to the Hunter's Grove and gather some food. So I think she's going to do that, since that's really the only one she can do. I don't want to leave. That would be wasteful, I believe. So I think she's going to give him enough food to recuperate. That will be 2 food and 1 energy. Well, that kind of makes up her mind on what we're going to do next, but she's going to do that and give up 2 food. That'll still leave her with a food for the night time for resting, and she's going to be out. So we're going to take the 2 food. That's going to end that for her. We're going to get the next stage, so remedy. Okay, as you can see, we're going to our statuses sheet. We're going to go to the remedy, and because we gave them food, we're going to mark off part 3 of the remedy. So let's go across here to here. We're going to mark part 3 of the remedy. We have that now. And it says, now, you notice it's interesting. This says part 1, this says part 2, this says part 3. So we can keep coming back and doing this and get all the parts of the remedy. I don't know where part 4 is, but we did this already, and we're going to get that status, and we're going to go to verse 2. So let's take a look at that. Okay, here's another incredibly cool aspect of this game. You see that we have something called a verse 2, right? And it shows these 3 symbols. Well, we have these tokens, right, that we use to not only track them in here, but to use other things. They are numbered. They start with, I think, 7, or 8, rather, and they go down. So what you want to do is you want to place the token in the way that it's facing, like this, right? And it's going to reveal a secret number. Okay, so let's take a look at that. The secret number is 474. Now we're going to go to the Book of Secrets and discover what 474 is. And that's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, I love that. This is such a cool thing. Now these are the tokens. These are the tokens you normally get, but these have been sun-dropped as well. So we're going to go to 474 in the Book of Secrets. Same book, by the way, just a different spot. And we're going to see what that takes us to. I almost botched that up because, to be honest, these tokens washed like this are a little harder to read. But we are actually at 434, not the other 474, whatever I told you. It's 434. Or, yeah. And so there we are with 434. I double-checked it, and we are on the right one. Okay. The problem is solved, at least for now. Residents of Whitening search their homes for the last remaining valuables with which to pay you. Family heirlooms, wedding bands, sacred talismans, should you accept. Each party member gains 1 experience. We'll take that. We will put this experience onto Ilia. She could use some experience. Then gain either 2 wealth or 2 reputation. So we can either take their money or we can become reputable. I don't know what reputation does for us yet, but we do already have 2. We have 0 wealth, so we have no money. Though I could refuse their money and take the reputation. That seems like what she'd do, right? As a character, she's very empathetic. She's a healer. She wants to help people. Why would she take their belongings, the meager belongings that they have left? I do believe we're going to take the reputation instead. Seems like the right thing for her to do. So here we go. Reputation. So she's got a reputation now 4. That's pretty good. But it says, then our expiration ends. So that is the end of her action. And she's pretty beat after taking the time to heal all the people in the Whitening. And that is going to mark the end of her exploration there. So that is it for her. So I think next up we're going to go to Bjorn, who's still at the Forlorn Swords. Before we do that, I just want to recap with her. There's her 4 reputation, her 1 experience, and she's got 1 food left. So she'll be able to eat that night, but she's definitely going to have to get food in the next town. So it might be that Erev and her meet together in the Hunter's Grove and get some more food for her, because Erev is got plenty of food. He could even trade some to her for free. Okay, here's Bjorn at the Forlorn Swords. He's already done he could do this smith shop to get a craftable item. I think it's way too early. I don't think that's worth it. I'm debating it. He's got some energy left, but somebody's got to get back to the town. He could do that and then take another action to get back to Kunuk, because it says as a suggestion in this first thing to be there when you dream. And so I'm going to look up what we do with that craftable items and think about it, but we may or may not do that. I'm still not sure. He could go back to the town and just spend a little time there and gain a reputation. That might be helpful. I do think he's going to do the smith shop, even though he stole the hammer from the guy. I guess he doesn't realize it yet. And we're going to get to draw items until we get one that has a C on it for craftable. I think he's going to do that. Why not? We could use some items. So he's going to spend 1 energy. That still gives him enough to get back to the village. He had 3. He's going to go down to 2 when he goes back, unless for some reason this craftable item causes him to have more, I don't know, more energy loss. But basically we're going to flip through these. I'm looking for something that has a C on it. I'm just going to put them down until I find one. Haven't found one yet. I'm not really reading them, I'm just kind of looking through them to see if they have this C on them. There we go. So the first thing he finds is a craftable smoke bomb. It says, in combat, discard this item to escape without triggering an opportunity attack. So that says it's craftable. Now, where we can craft that, I have yet to find out. But he does have that as a craftable item. It is not crafted yet. So I have to read up on crafting items and see what we can do there. I think we have to get to a place where it is craftable, or crafting. It says, draw 1 craftable item. Let me go. I'm going to take a look at that and see if it's something we can just use, or do we have to do something special with it. I haven't run into that before, because didn't run into it in the tutorial. Okay, so what I did was, I guess he crafted while he was there. That's at the smith shop, so that's what he spent his energy on. So he can use that smoke bomb, without a doubt. He's going to definitely have it equipped. It says in combat, discard this item to escape without triggering an opportunity attack. That could be very useful to us. So we're going to have that in our inventory. Now, everybody's gone, so we're going to go back around. We're going to start with Arev. He's going to pass, because he can't go anywhere. He's tired. Ilia is going to pass, and that leaves Bjorn. Bjorn is going to spend 1 last energy, down to 2, to travel. Now, if he goes to 1 or 0, he's exhausted, so we don't want that. He's going to move up to here, and that will be the end of his action. And then we're going to look at, here, let's take a look at this card here. So we're going to go to the end of day. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is, okay, so we're going to consume a food for Arov, and that's going to put all his energy back up to here, back up to the default, which is 6. He didn't have any damage, so he's fine. And that's going to end that. He doesn't have to worry about a terror either. He doesn't have any. Then we'll go to Ilia. We're going to consume her 1 food, and she too will go all the way back up to 7 energy. It's going to give her plenty of time to figure out some food for the next turn. Way up here we have the item up Bjorn. We're going to take his food, and we're going to move this up to position 6 up there, and he is good. That means that we have consumed all 3 food for our heroes. Now we're going to go back and look at the dreams, because everybody is going to have one, I believe. But we'll take a look and see. We're going to start with Arev, who's up there. Now remember, he's cursed, and it doesn't affect his dreams, though, so we're okay. It says, there are no dreams in this place. The sleep is as cold and silent as the mounds themselves. Okay, that was easy. So he had a dream. And then we're going to go to the Whitening, and Ilia is going to have a dream there. Go read the nightmare section. Let's just stick to what we're doing so you don't ruin the story for yourself. Your dream of home is understandable, considering for the first time in your life you've wandered so far from it. But why is everyone talking and walking backwards? Well, that's weird. Okay, everybody there is talking and walking backwards in her dream at the Whitening. Now we're going to go to Bjorn, who is having a dream in the Kunuk farmstead. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, I saved this one for last because I figured it would be a little more than the others. It says, in your restless dream, a pale lady rises from the water, her eyes milky, and her skin spoiled with rot. She whispers something into your ear. Her breath smells of sea salt, kelp, and rotten fish. You barely remember the words. There was something about 3 enigmas. One hidden under the Isle of the Dead, one clutched in the grasp of burnt hands and arms, and one buried in the mist-covered mounds. But what could it mean? Hint, the dream refers to 3 out of 8 locations surrounding Kunuk. If possible, some of them are not yet revealed. Well, they are all revealed. I know which ones they are because we've already got them out on the board. There's the mounds. I think one refers to let's see, the three dreams, the Isle of the Dead. That would be the island asylum down there, and then the other one with the charred hands and everything, or the burned hands, would be the charred conclave, I believe. That would make a lot of sense, right? I mean, take a look at the world around us, and that's what we see. So that is going to mark the end of, if you can see, the end of our day phase. We're not going insane, so we're going to then start the next day and go to stage 1. So let's do that. Okay, the first thing that we have to do when we start a new day is reduce the Menhir down. So he's at 4 now. We've got 4 turns to take care of the Menhir. It's interesting because someone said, why, they immediately reduce it. That's the first thing that happens, and it is. It's the first thing that happens in the game, so we reduced it twice already. But it looks like, we're in a place where we can get to these other locations pretty quickly. I think we know where Ilia is going to have to go. She's going to head to the Charred Conclave. We can send Bjorn down to the Island Asylum. And we already have Erev at the Four Dwellers Mounds. So I think we're okay there. All right. So what did we do first? We started our day. We removed the expired Menhir. We didn't have any. We reduced all time. We did that. We removed time tokens. We don't have any. So the next thing we do is we reveal the next event card. So the first event card of Chapter 1, it said to put out this quest. We've done that. So now we have to find the Menhir right still. That's still alive. That's still going to happen. But we also have this. Okay, let's take a look, and we'll read what the new quest says, or new event says, rather. It says, Exodus. Homeless vagabonds roam the roads and trails. Many hail from fishing villages further west, where the last Menhirs went dark weeks ago. Though malformed and sick, they are the lucky ones. Their tales chill you to the bone. Is this the fate that awaits your land? Help the refugees. Each player may spend 1 wealth or 1 food and gain 1 rep and 1 experience. Okay, well, so Ilia can't do that. She doesn't have any wealth and she doesn't have any food. However, Erev can do that, so he's going to spend 1 food, and that will give him 1 experience or reputation. He's going to take an experience because we need experience to level up. And I believe that Bior has a wealth. He's going to spend his wealth, and he's going to gain experience because that will give him 2 experience. That will allow him to do something later. So we already got somebody with a lot of reputation with Ilia. I think that's going to be okay. So we help the refugees. Then it says place 5, 1 per player. It says, -1 per player. Additional random events on the top of the event deck. So we're going to place 2 additional random events on the top of the event deck. Then discard this card. Hint, there are several ways to gather food or heal around your starting location. You may need to find them, though. Well, we will. So we're going to discard that, but we're going to add 2. Remember, there's 3 players. It said 5 minus the number of players. 2 random events on top of our event deck. Okay, these are the random events. I'm going to give them a really, really good shuffle. I don't think I've shuffled these up at all because they didn't appear in the prologue. So just shuffle them like crazy. Just see what we can do to mix them all up. We'll keep going. I'll just take 1 from different spots. So we're going to have 2 of them. Okay, we're going to take 1, and we'll reach down in the middle and take a second one. And there we go. That is our event deck now. We got 2 random events on the top of our event deck. That changes things up for us. And then we are done with that. So we've done the event deck, right? Reveal the next event card. We've done that. Move the Guardians. We don't have any. Pick active items and secret cards. Well, Bjorn has 2 items. They're both going to be active. He's the only one with any items right now. So, and none of us have any secret cards. So he still has his Old Steel Smasher and the Smoke Bomb available to him. So guys, we are about to start our during the day events. But we're not going to. We're going to wait until the next episode because I feel that episode is going to be quite long. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to, we've got all set up. We've started the day. Now we're going to the during the day, which is where we spend the meat of the game. So how I'll break this up, I'm going to try and keep it timely. I don't know how long this video was, but we did go through a recap, and then we went through several story events and everything like that. So I think that it's going to be long enough, and if it's not, that's okay. We can have a short episode in lieu of the next one. So guys, thanks so much. Please like, share, and subscribe, not only my video, but my channel. I really appreciate it if you do, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.